Whilst the public feud between President Trump and Elon Musk reached boiling point, the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz was forced to sit and watch on in awkward silence as he was in the Oval Office next to Donald Trump on his inaugural visit to Washington. The two leaders did, though, find time to discuss the war in Ukraine, with Chancellor Merz telling the president that Germany was on Ukraine's side. Mr. Trump, for his part, compared the conflict to two children fighting in the park. Let's bring in Jeff Rathke, who is the president of the American-German Institute at Johns Hopkins University. Jeff, lovely to have you with us. All in all, what's the reading of how this meeting went?
Well, you described awkward silence, but I think for Friedrich Merz that was a whole lot better than being in the crosshairs. The first visit for him, which came just about 1 month into his term as chancellor, was pretty successful in establishing a positive working relationship with the American president. And I think that positive interpretation is what has dominated since the meeting yesterday.
And was he putting much at threat in terms of trying to secure this positive relationship? And obviously also economically, Mr. Merz had, some work to do whilst he was there by mentioning that pressure had to be put on Russia.
Well, there's any kind of risk in a high-stakes meeting like this. But for Germany, as for the rest of Europe, the fate of the war in Ukraine is not an abstract matter. It's one that is driving threat perceptions and indeed defense spending across Europe. So I think the concerted effort to remind President Trump that Russia is the aggressor, that the United States is uniquely positioned to force Russia to the table, was quite well thought out, and it seems coordinated also quite well with his European partners.
Yeah, let's just talk about European partners, because obviously trade tariffs are a key issue for Germany, but Mr. Merz doesn't have the authority to negotiate those tariffs. That's down to the EU. But how badly does Germany need to sort things out?
Well, certainly the existing tariffs and also the threatened rise in tariffs after what is now a July 9th deadline is extremely important for Germany. It is one of the most export-dependent and open economies in the world, and indeed the largest economy in Europe. So, we're talking about billions in revenues for German companies. And for American taxpayers, if they have to start paying higher tariffs on imports. There wasn't a lot said about that in the open part of the meeting, but from what Merz said after the White House visit to the German press, that this is something that they focused on in their luncheon discussion in some detail. And without conveying any breakthrough, Merz did say that Germany was going to be taking a more prominent role on trade issues within Europe as they looked to find a way to resolve the current situation.
Jeff Rathke, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.